Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man?
This is technically take three.
Take three. Not really. No, let's take
We
one.
recorded,
Or
well, technically, I mean, we recorded two little clips there that
I don't
we.
have any idea what you're talking about right now, but let's get started.
Oh, moving on. I have had a week. I have had a week, dude. I had my son-in-law, in the Mustang, um, had a tire blowout up in St. Louis. My daughter calls me and she's coming home from Columbia and says, "Can you meet Matt up in the city? He needs help. He just hit a pothole and blew the sidewall out of the tire." And I'm like, "Well, how am I going to help him?" And she's like, "Well, Dad, he's going to need help. If you could go help him with the tires." So I said, "Well, first off, he's an adult." And I said, "Secondly, Mustangs don't have spare tires anymore. They put a air compressor with a slime kit in it." And so I called Matt and he goes, "It ain't got a spare?" I'm like, "No, dude, it's got an air compressor with slime." He's like, "Well, I don't think that's going to help this." So he gets the car home after they had it towed home
so you didn't
Saturday.
you didn't have to go out there.
No, I didn't have to go out there, but
What did he hit?
Saturday he hit a big pothole. St. Louis roadways. That's another one of those things for that bad driving episode I did in the very beginning.
Did he take a
But
picture and put it on social media?
no, he didn't. No. But he calls me Tuesday because he needs help because we got to get it up in the air. And I said, "Well, let me get some jack stands. I'll drop them by." So I run by there Tuesday afternoon after work to drop off jack stands and realize the jack that he has, he took out of the Jeep Cherokee they have, which means it sets like this high on a Mustang that sets this low to the ground. So he had to follow me out here to the house and get my aluminum low profile jack and take it in there. And I said, "Hey, do you want the um, grill? Do you want the impact grill?" And he goes, "No, no, I should be okay." 30 minutes later, he's like, "Hey, I'm coming to get the impact grill." 30 minutes later, he calls again. I just twisted off the adapter into the impact. I'm going over to a buddy's house to get his impact.
Did he
I
put a
might
picture
need
of
some
that on
help.
social media?
No,
No.
no, he didn't. Turns out that, I go in there a little after 7, and about 9:30, I finally called it and said, "We're done. Tow the car over there and let the company gonna fix it." I've never in my life had to deal with a tire change like that. And he was completely frustrated when I got there, and it only took me a couple hours to realize I was in the same boat he was, and we were done. And that's why I don't work on cars anymore, Rich.
What are you drinking there, Doug?
Uh, I'm gonna give you, well, if I give you one guess, do you think you'll get it?
Rum and Coke.
No. Gre- Green tea.
Oh, okay. It didn't look green here.
That's my go-to, man. Well, I
Nice.
know it's in a purple cup. My blue or orange cup that I normally take for my Broncos was dirty, so I'll grab the purple one. But anyway, um, got anything fun to share, or should we just jump into this thing?
Oh no, I thought we were going to talk about social media, but we were talking about flat tires or something. I'm confused.
Oh yeah. So first, all right. Well, first, let me get this out before we get in trouble. Our lawyers say that we have to say this, and everything you hear is our own opinions and not the opinions of any other entity. I don't know about you, but that's already getting old real quick. I mean,
You
aren't
want me to
people
start
smart
saying it?
enough? Well, I mean, you can, but I figure at this point,
I mean,
people are
maybe
probably
next week.
smart enough to figure that part out.
Maybe
It's
next week
like
I'll say it.
it's like the
Or
whole, "Hey, watch me. I'm going to throw this hair dryer in the bathtub with me when it's full of water."
we won't say it. We'll just post it on social media whenever we post the post. Post the.
Ah, and with that, welcome to Loud, Lucid, and Laughs. This episode 6 is about social media. It's everywhere. I'm Doug,
Rich James.
and that's Rich James. So, so you got a few hints there that we're gonna dig into some social media stuff, right? I mean, I did a little research on this, Rich, wrote a few notes, and I looked up how many actual social media platforms are there. And widely used, there's technically 6 social platforms, with Facebook being the number one most used platform. Um, Out of those 6 platforms, they claim that it's about 1 billion or more a month active users in just those 6. Now, 3 of those platforms are, of course, owned by Meta, your Facebook, so on and so forth. But furthermore, there's a total of 15 social media platforms that have over 400 million active users as of January 2024, with 4.9 billion worldwide over 100 platforms, predicted by 2027 to go to 5.85 billion. Just some little reference facts for you there right out of the gate. That is crazy. I did not realize there's 100 plus different things out there.
I didn't
Were
either.
you aware that there's that many? Yeah.
No, Doug. Doug, I'm not a techie guy, so I just know that I know Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, True Social, Rumble, YouTube, Snapchat, Slack, whatever. WhatsApp, I don't know. I know a few. I know Barstool, my shirt tonight, is a social media.
Well,
You know,
it's not a social media site.
well,
They're a
it's betting now, but I mean, it's a lot of
yeah.
different things. But they started out in like
Speaking
2003.
of,
Went from nothing to like a company worth, I don't know. At one time, they were valued at a lot of money, a lot of money. But
well,
and I
speaking
guess
of
they are still
shirts,
now. But
in honor of St. Patty's Day that we just had, that's as Rich would put it, with 2 D's, not at 2
or
T's.
mine last week. Look at the
Got a
Irish.
little, yeah, a little look of the Irish going on tonight.
This was the only social media
And
shirt I have. I don't have a shirt that says Facebook sucks or anything. So this was it for me.
fake, fake
And
book or whatever it is.
not that I agree with everything of Dave Portnoy, whatever his name is, that owns the company again. He started the company. It got sold a couple times, made a bunch of money, and then he bought it back in 2023, and now he owns it again. But so I don't agree with everything he thinks or says, but I love Barstool. I love the sports, stuff that they put up, and there's like Barstool,
Okay.
Mizzou, and whatever. But
Well,
I also
I
like
will.
I also do like Proper 12, which is on the shirt, and that's Conor McGregor's.
Oh, Conor McGregor's whiskey, right?
Yeah, right. Well, let's talk about
Papa.
social media. Let's get into social
Yeah.
media.
So here's a funny thing, man. I actually grew up, and I remember my oldest, having MySpace, right? So I really thought that was kind of the beginning of everything. But when I did a little digging, there was a thing, and it was called Plato, that actually started late 70s, early 80s as a social media site. It was more government related, but it was one of the very first social media sites
Yeah,
out there.
nobody was
Which,
watching that. Nobody was getting it. Let's want to talk about
yeah,
that.
well, but that's
Honestly,
what I'm
yeah,
saying, though. I mean,
MySpace was kind of a big thing when I moved to Nashville in 2006. That's how everybody. That was how everybody was putting their music on anything, a platform. Like everybody was like,
see,
"Oh, are you on MySpace? Are you on MySpace?" So
at that point, I thought it was like a kids thing because, like I said, my oldest daughter at the time, she was on it, and it started in 2003.
I have a MySpace, but I
Which
can tell you how to get in it,
couldn't get
where
back
it's at.
into it, or
It's somewhere out there in the universe, but I don't know where it's
well,
at.
because followed shortly after that in '04, Facebook kicked in.
See, I was thinking Facebook
So
more like, I think I joined Facebook in like 08, 09 or something.
yeah,
I must,
here.
I must have been late to the party.
Well, I was very late to the party because here's a funny thing. Um, Speaking of Facebook, right? '04, I can't remember when it was. So let me see, 91 to 2001, 10,
Dude, you're gonna strain your brain
2003,
right now.
13.
You're gonna hurt.
I'm gonna say Shelby was probably 15. So that might have been about the same time. that you joined, but our brother Clay,
Yeah.
he says,
Lucid.
calls me up and he says, "Hey, Doug, get online and go to this site called Facebook." And I'm like, "All right, how do I get there?" So he gives me the address and I go and he's like, "All right, now click over there where it says log in, create a profile." And I'm like, "Dude, what am I doing?" At the time, we had started doing a little ancestry. And he's like, "Man, then we can connect with our family in Ireland and England and we can look up some stuff for the ancestry stuff. So just get all logged in." So I did. And it was probably, I guess, a week or two later. Hadn't even thought about it, hadn't even looked at it, didn't even realize what I had done. And Shelby comes up out of the room and she's like, "Dad, you got Facebook?" And I'm like, "I got what?" And she goes, "You have a Facebook account?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." She brings a laptop out, turns it around and shows it to me. "Look, you're a suggested friend of mine. I can't believe you have Facebook." And
I
I'm
don't.
like,
Yeah.
"What is
I don't know.
that?"
I don't have a clue when I, who my first friend was, how I got on there, what made me get on there. I do know my first picture that I put on there, and I was on a
Yeah,
horse in Wisconsin, and I just picked a picture off my, and posted it. I think that might have been like one of my first
yeah.
posts, like, you know,
I mean, it exploded bigger than what MySpace was. It kind of took off and um, exploded at that point. But the funny thing was, is I thought that was literally like the second thing that ever started. Um, and I'm not even going to get into it, but like I said, MySpace was in '03. Facebook came out in '04. But in the '80s, there was a site called ELL, and '80s was my time, but I don't even remember it. But it was also known as Whole Earth, and it was a way for the whole Earth to be able to communicate through like a messenger type. You remember when Yahoo came out with like Yahoo Messenger and all that? This came out before that, and it still exists, believe it or not. I didn't try to look it up, didn't even think about it. Just a little useless piece of information for you there. But I was amazed at all the different ones I found. Max. Oh, we'll see how that turns out. But I,
well,
forward up
I've
to now.
never been a big, I'm not a big techie guy, and I don't like, nowadays I do use social media and I use it for different things. And but to me, when I started seeing stuff like that, um, I'm, I kind of felt like it was the downfall of human interaction, you know, of communication. Like I remember even back at Home Depot, I guess Slack would be considered social media. I don't know, but we had like 17 different ways of communicating with each other, and you had to look to see. I think I might have mentioned this on another podcast, but you had to look to see how you were going to communicate with each other, and like I was always like, can we just communicate by talking, by conversation, person to person, or maybe pick up the phone and talk, but yeah. So I've always thought that it was kind of the downfall of human interaction and the rise of a lot of other things. you know.
Skynet.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. Um, I've used it for certain things, keeping in touch with family and a few other things. But like Gina, I taking trips, posting pictures. I've done that the whole time I've been on Facebook. If I take a trip, I take a ton of pictures and post them. But
Yeah. I used to always do that. Like, it's funny. I did a little human experiment this St. Patty's Day. I just posted because I stopped posting pictures when I'm actually on my vacation or when I get back. I don't know. I just quit. We used to do it all the time, but like I don't like to post pictures when I'm gone because then people know you're gone. you know, like, you know, hey, they aren't home. They're out of the country. They're in Ireland. So who knows what could happen.
Oh,
Um,
well, I always have somebody covering my house, so I never have to
yeah,
worry about
we
that.
usually do too. And we have the killer attack dogs, Ben and Clancy.
Oh,
But
yeah, I
I
mean,
started
have you
thinking,
seen Wilson and Winston?
yeah, right. I mean, it's bad enough, let's talk, the government knows what you're doing all the time when you're on social media, I think. But now, then you're posting pictures and everybody else knows what you're doing. And like, I like it for some things, like, being able to, see what's going on with family or something, and or go, but our friends. But let's talk about that for a moment. I don't know if you want to go that way, but
Oh,
to me,
fire away.
to me, like, you post a lot of that stuff's fake. Let's talk about pictures, Instagram. When people post pictures up, a lot of times, and not everybody does it, but a lot of times they're getting their best picture. You're seeing this, you know, life that they live. That's this grandeur, life that they're. Oh, look at this person. Oh, look what they got to do. Look what they got to do. And it's not always the actual what's really going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I think where that one guy started saying fake news, fake news, fake misinformation. Like, like I think even with simple social, I think even with simple social media,
Oh,
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to say, I don't always think it's the real deal. Like TikTok, I was talking to you know, a certain guy we both know last night, George C. Uh, and like, so
shout out to George C.
I didn't even know this, but it just got put out on the news, I think, recently. Like they were talking about it. TikTok here, like TikTok's good for some people. Like it's good for him. Like he's putting up videos and it's making him feel good, and he's getting likes or like not necessarily that's why but it's a good platform for him, and he likes to be able to do it and put up. But I don't know if you knew this. I was reading yesterday that TikTok in China, it's not even known as TikTok. I don't think. I hope I'm getting this
Dude,
right, but it's called like Douyin, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Douyin. It's not even the same thing. And a lot of the stuff there, I was talking to Steph about this last night. They don't. They're generating like valuable content, like related to architecture, or science, or mathematics, or in
well,
conversely, in other countries, a lot of the uh, a lot of the folks is like promoting content like stupid dances or other stuff. I don't know that that's always the case, um, but I think a lot of it in China they're saying like it's a different thing. Like they're promoting like arts and sciences and people playing the violin and and stuff like that.
you
So
know, I get you. I get you. And the government right now, there's a huge thing going on about them wanting to shut TikTok down for the United States, and nobody have it. I know a lot of government, they've already been told they can't have it on their phones, but they're trying to pass a law where that if ByteDance, which is the actual parent company that owns it, if they don't sell it, then they're wanting to shut it down because they believe it's the Chinese trying to steal your information. Well, first off, it's only 20% Chinese owned. It's 20% of the employees at ByteDance that own it, and 60% is actual global investors. So the largest amount of it is owned globally by different people. And I mean, let's get real. Every single social media site collects your information. When you download that thing and you hit I accept and it says I want to access your pictures, your contacts, your camera, you're giving them access to all that.
yeah, I try not to do
So
all that, Doug. I try to keep all that turned off. But right now, I could literally think about like putting garlic butter on a grilled cheese, and I can pick up my phone, and I guarantee there'll be something trying to sell me garlic.
recipe,
And if you've never
you'll get a
used garlic
recipe.
butter, if you've never used garlic butter on your bread for your grilled cheese, you're missing out. Let me tell you that one, because that's good stuff right there.
Great. Now I'm going to have that as a recipe pop up on my phone too.
Yep, it's on your phone too.
Just what I
It
need.
is, dude.
Yeah,
I also heard. the Supreme Court's also trying to. I just read this the other day. The Supreme Court's trying to. Like, they were talking about like what to block from visibility, and are they allowed to censor? Like they're telling politicians. I guess. Did you hear anything about this? They're telling politicians like, you should have your, you know, congressman Facebook in your personal Facebook, and anybody can say what they want to on your congressman Facebook, but not on your personal Facebook or something to that. I might be wrong, but like I saw the White House press secretary was like all mad about that. What's her name? Ketanji Brown. I don't know how to say her first name, but she's useless. But she actually came out and said, well, that's infringing on the government to control the First Amendment. What? That's infringing on the government to control the First Amendment. So, yeah, get that. The government trying to.
Reality is, I don't care what you have.
Gotcha.
Facebook, Instagram, what? Gotcha. Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, X, Twitch, Patreon, the ones you mentioned, Snapchat. I don't care what they are. Every one of them's collecting data on you, and every one of them, like you said, when you go through it, you'll see ads on every one of those for things that you've talked about with somebody or you've looked up on the internet. They're following it all. So I don't use TikTok. I've never used TikTok. I don't know that I'll ever use TikTok, but to take it away from people that are trying to make a living, and I get it, there's content creators. What are we? Well, we're just a couple old dudes. We're both sitting in basements.
By the way, when I screamed yes just a minute ago, it wasn't for you. It was for the Blues. Blues won 5-2 tonight. So, a lot of things good. A lot of good things came out of social media. A lot of, and there's something, maybe there's more education. You can learn faster. You can talk, you can see things faster. You can see, social media from your watch. You can see that the Blues won. And, now to me, that's a good thing. But there's, a lot of bad things that came out of it too. And the biggest one, I think, that human interaction, relationships, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, like kids, teenagers, not talking to their, parents as much, parenting in general, like I think a lot of times, I think parents need to be a parent. I know there's a lot of parents, like if their kids are doing something wrong, they take away the phone or whatever in the social media. But we went from being, a family that sits down. I don't need the Brady Bunch anymore, but we went from a family that sits down and eats dinner together to like, a kid's in his room having, a pizza pocket,
tablet,
high pocket, and looking at social media. And then, a lot of times parents don't even know what their kids are up to anymore. If they're still, but if they're still under the roof, you should know what your kid's doing. And, but yeah, it goes back and forth. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, the good, the bad, the ugly, like not a Clint Eastwood movie, but
that is a good movie.
That is a good movie. But I was thinking it's good for your business. Like Barstool, they went from 2003 to now being worth billions, but it's also bad for your business. What if one person gets on your business page and blast you over something, and then 50 other people see it, so it could be good for your business. It could be good for your marriage.
And not only that,
it could be bad for your marriage. It could be good for your relationship. It could be bad for your relationship. So there's a lot of things for it.
I want to touch on that business thing, because even on a business side, one of your employees could post something, or you might post something that somebody else doesn't agree with.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get blasted for that and you get hate speech going, blah, blah, blah. But we've allowed that to happen, which is just dumb, number one. That we can't all have our own opinions and our own communications and just choose to agree or disagree and still be friends and move on. But touching on what you said earlier, I've noticed, I don't eat out a lot, but we might eat out maybe once a week. And I've noticed a lot that you go into restaurants now, and that's what you'll see. Either a whole family or like 5 or 6 kids sitting around a table, and this is all you get.
Oh yeah. Even that's what I say.
And
Even
and
with
the
a
funny thing
husband, wife,
is
yeah, husband, wife,
they
boyfriend,
they
girlfriend.
may be texting each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I love about. I was just talking about this with one of my clients. I love going to Europe, even in Ireland. You will not see. You go to a restaurant, bar, social gathering. You won't see people on their phones as much in Europe. Um, and they won't be watching TV or anything else. They go to bars and restaurants and other stuff to have conversation, actual conversation like we
That
used to
first
do,
word, they go to bars.
like we used
They
to
go
do
to
20
bars.
years ago before social media. Because I kind of feel like there are parts of Europe that are still like 20 years, a little bit behind. But but I love it over there. I love it over there because of that fact. Because you won't, unless there's a soccer match going on, football. Um,
Football.
or a hurling match, and you won't see people with their phones out doing that. Like have to have it. They're communicating. They're having communication, and I think that's one of the things that lacks now with because you can. Dude, I've done it. Everybody's done it. You can get lost for hours on social media. You start
Yeah.
looking at your phone. Oh, I'm looking at this, and it carries you to this, and you're looking at that, and you're gone. For hours.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I got to
I
say something
agree
about that.
100%.
I kind of feel like that's almost where your government wants you, or I didn't want to get dark on this and make it about government and other stuff, but
Mind
I kind
mind
of feel like a
control.
lot of times they want you to be a zombie, and that more and more people are saying that. You usually have to read it on Twitter or social media, but but more and more people are saying, you know, your government wants you to be a zombie. They want you watching YouTube all day. They want you watching Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and let's talk about that for a minute. You know, like I was saying a minute ago, people, I think, like, you get a lot of fake reality on social media. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
Oh,
on Instagram, look at
yeah.
the picture of me. I'm totally, I'm a
But
Barbie
wait, let me
doll.
use like 28 filters. I
Yeah,
need to
right.
put
Yeah.
28 filters on this
Let me
picture before I
let me
put it
make
up.
this
Look at me.
perfect. This isn't
Yeah.
your mom and dad's
Photoshop.
where we're taking. So
It's showing the nitty-gritty no matter what. Yeah, and
but
you're right.
it's all about, and then like I said, you get the mass spread of misinformation a lot of times. Our dad didn't. I don't think he trusted media from the time I ever heard him say anything. He was all about not trusting anything that anything like on TV or the news. He never trusted anything, um, except for maybe Hee Haw, he
Mhm.
trusted Hee Haw.
Ah,
But yeah, I think
oh,
it's that's
despair and agony on me.
yeah. The book
Deep,
I
dark
just
depression.
the book I just held up a minute ago. That's Gotcha. It's about the subordination of free will, and it talks about you know the crazy stuff, you know, like red dyes and blue dyes and all that stuff, and how
Oh,
the
and your food?
in your food and food fraud and all that and blah blah blah. And they say that's what basically like Nazi Germany did that. They used kind of like a it was probably an early form of social media to spread misinformation. And
Well, they drop flyers and propaganda
yeah,
everywhere.
and that's if you read this book, it's a good book, but it's been doing that. They've been doing that here for years. Like with
Who's the author?
propaganda and other stuff. It's Eldon Taylor. Eldon Taylor.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Huh.
but great book, and it talks a little bit about all that stuff. But that's been going on for forever. But
Oh, you know.
you know,
I mean, the way I look at it, you got your good things, you got your bad things. I mean, number one, you reach a wide audience. So, like we said, we can contact family and overseas and
oh, yeah,
with them at any time or share. They can share their pictures, we share our pictures, and we get to see them grow, get to see their kids grow, our nieces, nephews, all that. Um, You find support. There's a lot of support groups on different social media sites. If you're going through something, no matter what it might be, you might find a group that way and get to talk with them. If you're not able to get out and about, you have that ability, and some people do them in Zoom meetings or what have you. So you still get that part where you're still getting some type of interaction. Like you said earlier, business, post your products, post your business, bring in people. I mean, you use one website for your social media for your business. That's up there. It can help people build their confidence, which I mean, that's a really good one. And it's like we said with George C. Plays his guitar on there a lot. People that would normally never do that, it's opened up for them to be able to do things that others can see them. They might not be able to do it in front of people, but they can do it this way. And then when people start liking it and start telling them how great it is, it builds that confidence for that person.
Yeah.
One of the big things is it can help you with how you can be a director or your videography skills. Maybe I need to dig into some more to get that one. I could use a little help in that area. But unleashing creativity. I mean, this is something I talked about and you talked about for a long time doing a podcast. We would joke. You and I would do phone calls, right? While we
Yeah.
were both driving. And we might talk for an hour on a phone call. And what would you say all the time at the end of it? That would be a great podcast.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we joked about that. And then we were like, you know what? We really should just do it. And it's become a hobby. So for you and me, it's just fun. But
Yeah.
there are people out there that are making a living off of it.
Right.
And they're making good money. And then there's people that are trying to get there. We're doing it just for fun. If it goes somewhere cool, if it does, and speaking of that, so that it can create a side influence or side income for people. I was reading a thing that said influencers with about 100K or more followers normally can earn anywhere from $500 and up on sponsored posts of their videos. So
Oh
you
yeah.
hit a certain level of enough people following you, and you start making money off of it.
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, there are
Um,
positive effects. The building relationships, the staying connected.
yeah,
Like I'm going through. I'm not, but my friend that I was just talking about, if you're going through a hard time or a divorce or a kid that's reclusive or something like that, they might find their voice out there. They, showing empathy and kindness, offering support, better communication, spreading news, building a business like we talked about, establishing, um, drive, but motivating young people and creativity, like you were saying, there are some positive aspects, but there's also not so positive aspects, like
well, yeah, and one other thing I saw on Facebook today, there was a guy that did post, and he said one of the things he loves about um, social media is he hasn't watched TV in over 5 years, and he literally watches a lot of how-to videos,
yeah,
and he has taught himself how to be self-sustainable. Um, Basically, how to collect rainwater, how to grow your own vegetables, how to be self-sufficient, how to create solar power. He built a solar power system with batteries and stuff on his own.
nice.
And that's what he said. He said he's taken that time and has used it as creativity, whichever he's using, however he's looking
Doug,
up
who is this
YouTube or
guy?
what it might
Is
be.
this Do you know this guy really well?
No, I don't. He teaches a lot of self-defense classes, and they do a lot of things with not
Do
only
you know?
self-defense,
Like,
but
does he live near you or?
yeah, yeah, he's actually around this area. I started following him probably about a month ago.
Yeah, you used to become really good friends with him. Is the point I'm trying to make?
Oh, I
Okay.
know. I know. I'm actually I want
Into
to go to one of his classes. He's do so
into the
he
world stuff.
started
That's into the world stuff.
he
That's the guy you want to know.
well,
So
yeah, and he started a radio thing, and he's doing like once every week or two he has one night where for a couple hours if you go buy these certain radios, he'll put you in with his team and you all log on together. And these radios can stretch up to like 30, 40 miles, and they're not that expensive. And he teaches you how to tweak it, how to get a better antenna, how to get farther out. And
Nice.
then they have group sessions where they get together and use them, and he teaches you how to use it and what to do with it. And so, yeah, I plan on at least getting in on one of those soon.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
yeah,
good.
great thing.
I mean, yeah,
But
I think TV, I think watching too much, look, it's just like anything really. Um, if you're doing too much of it, it's probably bad, so,
unless you're
so,
reading, I don't know. I like
but
to read a lot.
yeah, I do too. I love to read, but if you're reading so much to where you're not talking to your wife or you're not eating
Well,
dinner,
yeah,
or not, so
yeah.
like I said, so like any
Moderation.
moderation, with any, yeah, that's the word we need. Moderation, I think, with anything. So I mean, yeah, like I deep dive a little bit into this social media thing, the good, the bad, the ugly. Like I said, is it good? Is it bad? There's both sides of it, and I mean, we know, you know, unfortunately, people, commit suicide, you know, because of they didn't get enough likes or something, or there's predators out there that are trying to meet up with kids, or sex trafficking, or you know there's all kinds of bad stuff out there that goes along with the good,
Well, yeah, and people can get obsessed with, well, oh, I just got another like. I got to look at that. Who liked it? And
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't. I started saying that a little earlier, but I did a social media experiment on Sunday just because I knew we were doing this social media podcast, and so I put up that. I'm sure you saw it. I think you liked it. I put up that AI image of the priest holding the Guinness and said "Slanche, Happy St. Patrick's Day," blah blah blah. Did you saw that I put up on Facebook?
no, I don't think I did.
Well, so that's what's funny about that. Because normally, if I put up a picture of my dogs, I'll get 50 likes, in no time at all. But
Yeah.
uh, but I put up or if I put up a picture of me and Steph somewhere, we'll get a bunch of likes, But I put that picture up, and it got like 5 likes. So I followed that with two different trips that I took to Ireland, and those got several likes. But that AI picture I
Oh
put,
yeah, I did like it.
yeah. So you notice that AI picture I put up only got like 2 or 3 likes. You know,
Yeah.
a few likes, 5, I don't know. But then the other ones I put up, with people in them, you got a ton. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the next one you put up got 54, and the
yeah,
next one got 20 something, so
yeah,
on and so forth. But
yeah.
I mean,
So
that's a good point.
I did that
And I've
just,
noticed that too.
and so
Like,
it also makes me wonder. It also makes me wonder, like, did that picture, the AI type picture, did that even get put out there by Facebook?
did it get shadowed?
Did it get shadowed? You know,
Yeah,
so
which
yeah.
good question.
Which, like, tonight,
But
I shared, like, a few hours ago, like, I don't know, might be 6 or 7 hours ago now. I shared our last podcast thing, and I think when I looked at it, the only person that liked it so far was you. But if it's up on my Facebook, if it's up on my Facebook, I didn't tag everyone, but like people should be seeing it. So there'd be,
right.
but then our loud luces and laughs have gotten, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's always that, you know, I don't really care about it as much, people, but there's a lot of people out there likes, likes, likes. So there's always that wondering too, like what's getting shadowed, what's not, what's get put out there, what's not. I think
Yeah.
a lot
And
of it,
and
a lot of it
honestly,
on all platforms. I think a lot of it on all platforms is being controlled somehow, one way or another.
I will tell you this, over the last couple of weeks, the only time that I have opened Facebook is at lunch for about 5 minutes, and in the evenings, normally about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I will look at it to see. I'll post a joke or something funny, or a picture of the dog or me and Gina. And what I found over the last several weeks of doing that is my Facebook has gone from like a timeline to now I open it up and I'm seeing stuff from 4 days ago,
Yeah,
from February 28th, and then 2 minutes ago, and then 3 hours ago. There's no if and or reason for why, and it's
no.
like
Hey,
completely
dude,
changed.
like I started noticing this during my Home Depot years as a manager, because I was there from what 2000
Too
three
long?
two 2002 to
Too long.
19, so almost 17 years. But when social media started coming into play later on, you had that distraction, loss of productivity. That's a disadvantage. Um, and people are on their phones all day at work and not doing their work.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
now it's
see
even
it now.
worse. And now even the spread of misinformation, like it wasn't as bad in 2010 as it is now. Um,
Oh, yeah, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, and the compromising of privacy and private data and or data.
Breaches and yeah,
Yeah,
data, data.
I think all your stuff is vulnerable. With social media, with being able to, people be able to see, different things that you wouldn't have been able to see in 2010, even.
Oh, yeah. And that, like the bad content, I know there's some social media platforms out there that people are using to make money that is not good stuff. And
Yeah.
like you said, predators and stuff. But I follow several people on X. Those of you that don't know, that's formerly known as Twitter,
Oh yeah, I was still saying Twitter.
Instagram.
I was still
Yeah.
using Twitter.
And I follow people on YouTube. I watch a lot of videos for reviews of movies coming up, trailers. Um, I've used Instagram. I follow several people for doing some different exercises. I've picked up doing the kettlebell.
Now I do
Um,
I do watch Instagram
but
for
trust
exercise.
me,
Yeah. What's that?
trust me, you do not want me to record a video of me doing kettlebell and put it
Yeah,
up. We
I
don't want to
do
see that.
listen to a lot of motivational stuff on Instagram, and I'll read all the misinformation putting out there on X. I don't post on any platform other than Facebook, but I think you know there's been times that I've like, oh, I'm just gonna get rid of Facebook. I don't need it, and then I keep it. And, so
Well, I mean, I I dabble in a lot of different ones, but especially with this, I'm putting it up to like Spotify. I put it up to YouTube. I put
yeah,
it up to our Facebook for Loud, Lucid, and Laughs, and I put it up to my home Facebook. You've been putting it to your home Facebook. I throw it up there on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'm working at a couple different sites, Twitch and Patreon, for
no, those
future
aren't. Did
use.
you say Patron?
Yeah, no, Patreon.
Tequila? Tequila
You remember
Patron?
how in like our first episode you said something about getting paid? Oh no, you said something about get me money to pay my taxes. Um,
Yeah, gets you money to pay your taxes. Yeah,
no, Patreon is something that you can put out there and people can donate to you, or you can set up a monthly thing to where they can, if they join it this dollar amount monthly, you'll do like
yeah.
maybe
Well,
special
see,
videos or give them call outs and
yeah, so that's a
stuff
good
like
thing. Like,
that.
but that's another disadvantage of social media to me because like there's so many scams and frauds and stuff out there that you can be taken advantage of if you aren't paying attention. That's
Yeah.
another thing I think that's bad about it. We've talked about a lot of stuff that's good. About it, better communication, spreading news, building a business, finding your voice, building
Watching
relationships.
Full Throttle on
But
YouTube.
yeah,
I even watch church. I watch church every Sunday on it.
yeah.
The
I
old
mean, our
the
church
old
has
church I used to go to.
too. But I think that's the problem with me. Like, I mean, there's so many. I mean, maybe I'm just, old school, but I think, I've heard people that I know that go to my church and they're like, yeah, I watched it at home this week and, I didn't go. But I think that's missing the social human interaction that we're supposed to have, with people. And I
Well,
think
it
that,
can be, yeah.
yeah. And I think, it's missing getting outside. I mean, read a thing not too long ago that said we're supposed to be outside. We're supposed to be we're supposed to be outside like 85% of our time. We're not supposed to be locked up inside a room. And I think social media promotes social isolation. So I think
Oh, you're right. You're right.
and I think there's an
But
addiction there for some people. I mean, not everybody's addicted to it, but like I said, that's where it goes back to moderation. But and then you know, with a human interaction, if I'm at church, Doug, and I see you at church, I'm talking to you. I know you're right there. But I think social media promotes, like superficial, connections. Like, oh, I was talking to this person and they're so cool and they're so cool and or like the, like, oh, this person, but you don't even know because you don't know that person, That's why I think I would like to see, you know, I like to go camping. We bought that camper, like I said, a couple years ago for Finn and Clancy, and
for the dogs.
for the
Yeah, for
dogs.
the dogs.
And but I think I like to go camping and like just get rid of social media for a little while. Like there's times I don't use it much, because I'm working, but there's other times I'll, like we were just talking about this recently. Steph will get home from work, she's unwinding, she's watching like a cooking show. I'm not interested in the cooking show, so I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were to look, so
What?
you,
What? Huh?
is it a commercial? Commercial's
No,
better than the cooking show?
no.
Is
But
that what you looked up for?
hey, you can look at Jay
No.
Shetty. I was reading a book not too long ago, Jay Shetty, and he was talking. I forgot what he said, but he came up with a number. And it's on your phone. You can look and see how much time you're spending on social
Well,
media.
I get a report every Sunday that tells
Yeah.
me how much mine's been used. Like I used it for over
And if
16
it's too
hours
much,
last
quit
week.
doing it. What's that?
Well, I used it for over 16 hours last week, but that was maps.
Yeah. Well, see, I also use my phone for my massage bookings, my
Well,
clientele, and all that.
right. And
My
mine
business.
mine breaks it down, and it actually tells you, like, I have a game I play. It tells how much time I spent in the game.
Yeah,
How much time you spend on each app.
I don't
So
play
I
any
like
games.
that.
I don't play games on
And
social media.
yeah, and I don't play them on social media. And what I've tried to do is each
Oh, my
week
phone.
I try to get a little bit less than what it told me I did. So that's been my goal, is to try and use it just a little bit less.
I think that's a
But
great goal.
I think what it really boils down to is um, what social media is for you. Maybe you like Facebook, maybe you like Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Spot. I don't know, all the ones out there. What I say, 100 plus. I think it really comes down to, is it a benefit, or is it a um, what do you call it? A social uh, isolation device.
Isolation. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I mean, it's about,
if it's a
it's about
good,
not, don't spend so much time on it that you don't have a life outside of it, that
right,
that is your,
right, there
that
you
that
go.
is
That,
your life. You don't want to make that your life,
yeah. And I might even, we got all the white websites we use. I'm not telling you to spend time on them unless you're watching our video, then take that time. But I might put a poll out there and say, how much time do you think you spend on social media, and just see what we get from it.
Yeah.
Uh, we can touch back on it next week and see what it says. I mean, all I'm saying is, if you're going to cut time out, don't cut out the hour or less that these two old dudes in a basement are spending their time to put up and watch us. Because
That's why
this last week I spent probably a total of 12 hours trying to get our last episode up, and I don't know
because you
what
don't know how to
happened, but
you don't know how to use social media is the problem.
no, dude, I
But
had it loaded up to Spotify in no time, but for the rest of them, it did not want to load at all. I literally, an hour before we came down here to do this, it finally went up to YouTube after trying that for 4 days. I have no clue what caused it. It was the technical difficulties. With shout out to Matt Branham. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the video, Rich, but he kind of pasted it together for us, because
uh,
we had a little bit of an issue last week. We were sitting there talking about vacations, and for some reason, my laptop just went, and I think I figured out what it was. I had it set on a 30-minute timer, and I hadn't touched the mouse or anything. So I
Ah,
think it started to go into sleep mode,
touch the mouse.
and when it did that, it shut off Skype, and Rich was still going for about a minute and a half while
But
I was frozen.
we haven't had social media. I mean, like in the way that it is now. I think we haven't had that for a long time. So it's hard to tell, what long term consequences are of social media. But I still believe that, and I think
Still
they're saying that
believe.
studies have found that there's a link between heavy social media, increased risk of depression, anxiety, loneliness, self harm, even suicidal thoughts. So we've got to get back, I think, to a spot where we're putting down the phone, the computer, the whatever, the iPad, tablet, whatever, and we're just connecting again. I think if I had anything to say on the good, the bad, the ugly of social media, I would say that at times I think people, where we're talking about the restaurants and husband and wife having their phone, boyfriend, girlfriend talking on their or being on their phones instead of meeting each other. When we were young, when we went on dates, not with each other, not with each other, but when we went on dates, you didn't have a phone. You were talking to meet this girl or meet the and
Because they didn't exist, Dave.
yeah. Or even if we went out with, guy friends, we were having conversation and having fun, and we're going to the park to play some basketball, or we're doing stuff that is more grounding and in touch with the earth and being outside, whatever. But we're having conversation and actual cool conversations, a lot of fun, but or we used to do fake radio stations back in the day.
We would. I remember
Yeah,
that.
but on like fake radio stations and little mini
Well,
concerts,
and
or whatever.
the,
But
the good thing is we didn't have social media for the stupid things we did back in the day. Thank God.
right, that is good. We said that a
So,
couple years ago. But I would like to just say that as we're wrapping it up tonight, that you know the big thing is get outside, and put the phone down and have conversation with people and communication and get out back to the woods and earth, or and don't have to take a Steph will get mad at me when she watches this, but don't have to take a picture every 5 seconds while you're on a vacation. Like enjoy the moment, enjoy the memory in your head, and not on here all the time. Like it is
yeah,
nice to have a picture and remember where you're going, but when if you're taking 1,000 pictures, you're not really enjoying your vacation or yourself. And or if you're on social media when you're in a foreign country, well, then you're just dumb. But sorry, but
yeah.
but that's
I
about all
saw
I've
a
got to
picture.
say. I should probably
I, I
stop.
saw
I
I
should probably
saw a
stop.
picture that somebody posted, and it said, um, "How you know you're really enjoying what you're doing?" And it showed this older lady at a concert, and she's just standing there leaning on the rail with a great big smile on her face, watching the band just jam out, while all these people around her are like this,
Yeah,
recording the whole time.
right.
So what you're saying is true. Live in the moment and keep the memory up. Stop. I mean, it isn't bad to take a few pictures, put them up because it's cool. The next year when it pops up and you're like, oh, I
Yeah,
remember that. That was fun. But live in the moment, like Rich said. Um,
live in the moment and do
welcome
what moves you.
to welcome to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed. We talked about vacation. We last week we jumped into social media. This week, I'm not sure what we're going to go into next week. We've got a lot of topics, but we kind of fly by the seat of our pants sometimes and talk about it at the beginning of the week and then decide where we're going to go. So
Yeah, and let us know what you
Cool.
think about today's podcast, and let us know what you think about social media in comments if you can. Like, tell us. Now here's Doug, where we'll know if somebody's watching to the end. But yeah, put it out there and let us know what your views on social media, good, bad, ugly, in between.
Yeah, let us know. And who knows, we might be doing something if you do let us know. So, with that being said, Rich, I think we're going to wrap this one up and call it an evening, and then we'll get this thing posted up on the weekend. So, thank you all for listening. Have a great night.
Have a great night.